that no one was in the driver's seat driving that vehicle at the time of impact, 545, which the subsequent investigation found to be false, as the NTSB determined the driver, who was wearing a seat belt, was moved into the rear seat by the deployment of the airbag. 548. The resulting fire took 4 hours and more than 30,000 US gal, 113,600 L, of water to extinguish. 545. The chief of the Woodlands Fire Department later clarified the fire had been extinguished within a few minutes of arriving on the scene, but could not be fully extinguished because of the presence of bodies, the ongoing investigation, and possibility of being a crime scene, so a steady stream of water was required to keep the battery cool. 549, 550, investigators from both NSA and NTSB were dispatched. 551, although the post-crash fire destroyed the car's onboard telemetry storage, the restraint control module /event data recorder, EDR, while damaged, was evaluated at the NTSB's recorder laboratory. 546. Based on data recovered from the EDR, the highest recorded speed in 5 seconds leading up to the crash was 67 miles per hour, 108 kilometers per hour. 552. According to interviews, that afternoon the driver and his wife had hosted 2 friends at their house, going out for dinner and returning to the house on the cul-de-sac off Hammock Dunes Place around 8:30 p.m. Alcohol had been consumed. The driver was showing the car to his friend. After they entered the street, the driver failed to negotiate the left-hand turn along Hammock Dunes Place, departing the road and striking a storm sewer inlet, an elevated manhole cover, side-swiping a tree, and came to rest after colliding with a second tree at 57 miles per hour, 92 kilometers per hour. 544. The Woodlands Fire Department was notified of a small outside fire via 9-1-1 at 9:24 p.m. 544. In response to the incorrect early assertions that Autopilot was involved, Elon Musk stated on Twitter that data logs indicated that Autopilot was not enabled, and the FSD package had not been purchased for that car. 553, 554. During an earnings call in April 2021, Tesla's vice president of vehicle engineering pushed back on the news coverage of the incident and added that Tesla representatives had studied the crash and reported the steering wheel was deformed, which could indicate someone was in the driver's seat at the time of the crash. 555, 556. The same Tesla officer noted a test car's adaptive cruise control had accelerated the car to only 30 miles per hour. 48 kilometers per hour, at the crash site. 557, 558, on a closed course. Consumer reports demonstrated that Autopilot would stay engaged after a person climbed out of the driver's seat by using a weight to apply torque to the steering wheel and leaving the driver's seat belt buckled. 559. The NTSB tested an exemplar car at the site and found that autosteer was not available on that part of Hammock Dunes. 546. In an update published in October 2021, the NTSB concluded that Autopilot was not engaged and both the driver and front passenger seats were occupied at the time of the crash. Based on the deformation of the steering wheel and data recovered from the car's EDR. 552. The frontal collision disabled the car's low-voltage, 12V, electrical system, which includes the power supply for normal rear seat door handles. In the event of power loss, rear seat passengers are expected to use a mechanical release tab in the carpet beneath the rear seat cushions. Investigators were unable to determine if the mechanical release had been used due to damage from the post-crash fire. 544. Final investigation report, published in February 2023, determined the driver was operating the vehicle with a blood alcohol concentration of 0.151 g/dl, almost twice the legal limit in Texas, 0.08 g/dl, concluding the probable cause of the Spring, Texas, electric vehicle crash was the driver's excessive speed and failure to control his car, due to impairment from alcohol intoxication in combination with the effects of two sedating antihistamines. 544, Fontana, California, USA, the 5th of May 2021. At 2:35 a.m. PDT on the 5th of May 2021, a Tesla Model 3 crashed into an overturned tractor-trailer on the westbound Foothill Freeway, I-210, in Fontana, California. The driver of the Tesla was killed, and a man who had stopped to assist the driver of the truck was struck and injured by the Tesla. 560, California Highway Patrol, CHP, officials announced on the 13th of May that Autopilot was engaged prior to the crash, but added a day later that a final determination has not been made as to what driving mode the Tesla was in or if it was a contributing factor to the crash. 561. The CHP and NHTSA are investigating the crash. 562. 563. Telemetry data indicate that an automated driving system was in use at the time of the crash. 428. Report ID 13781 5609 Queens, New York, USA, the 26th of July 2021. On the 26th of July 2021, just after midnight, a man was hit and killed by a driver in a Tesla Model Y SUV. The victim had parked his vehicle on the left shoulder of the westbound Long Island Expressway, I-495, just east of the College Point Boulevard exit in Flushing, Queens, New York, to change a flat tire. 564, 565. The NHTSA later determined Autopilot was active during the collision and sent a team to further investigate. 566. 428, report ID 13781 to 21 Evergreen, Colorado, USA, the 16th of May 2022. In the evening of the 16th of May 2022, the driver of a Tesla Model 3 left Upper Bear Creek Road in Evergreen, Colorado and collided with a tree. After the car caught on fire, a passenger was able to exit, but the driver was unable to leave the car and died at the scene. 567. Law enforcement suspect that the Tesla was operating in autopilot. 428. Report ID 13781 to 3074 Mission Viejo, California, USA, the 17th of May 2022. At 10:51 p.m. PDT on the 17th of May 2022, a pedestrian walking on southbound I-5 near Crown Valley Parkway in Mission Viejo, California was struck and killed by a driver operating a Tesla Model 3. After the pedestrian was hit, the driver of the Tesla parked the car and exited it to stand on the right shoulder of the freeway. An impaired driver then crashed their car into the Tesla, and a third driver crashed into the two-car wreck, which was in a construction zone. 568. Field report data confirmed the Tesla was operating in autopilot when the pedestrian was killed. 428. Report ID 13781 to 3279 Gainesville, Florida, USA, the 6th of July 2022. At approximately 2 p.m. EDT on the 7th of July 2022, the driver of a Tesla Model S traveling southbound on I-75 exited at a rest area just south of Gainesville, Florida, near Payne's Prairie Preserve State Park, and smashed into the rear of a parked Walmart tractor trailer. Both the driver and passenger of the Tesla, a married couple from Lompoc, California, were killed. 569, a spokesperson for the Florida Highway Patrol noted. The vehicle came off the exit ramp to the rest area, continued south for a short period, and turned into an easterly direction, and that's at what time you had the collision where the Tesla struck the rear of the tractor trailer. 570. The NSA confirmed it had sent an investigation team to the site. 571. Data reported by Tesla under NSA SGO 2021-01 confirmed that Autopilot was engaged during the crash. 428. Report ID 13781 to 3327 Riverside, California, USA, the 7th of July 2022. It was initially, and incorrectly, reported that at 4:47 a.m. PDT on the 7th of July 2022, a driver in a Tesla Model Y approached from behind, and then struck a motorcyclist on a Yamaha V-Star. Both vehicles were traveling eastbound in the high-occupancy vehicle lane of SR 91, west of Magnolia Avenue in Riverside, California. The motorcyclist was ejected from his vehicle and died at the scene, while the driver of the Tesla was uninjured after the Model Y went off the road. 572. The driver of the Tesla was not arrested. 573. Subsequent CHP investigation showed the motorcyclist struck the dividing wall and fell off his motorcycle. The Tesla Model Y following behind struck the motorcycle, which was already lying on its side, but not the motorcyclist. Telemetry data from Tesla later confirmed the Model Y driver was using Autopilot. 574. Data reported by Tesla under NSA SGO 2021-01 also confirmed that Autopilot was engaged during the crash. 428. Report ID 13781 to 3332 Draper, Utah, USA, the 24th of July 2022. A motorcycle rider was struck from behind by a driver using Autopilot in a Tesla Model 3 on southbound Interstate 15 near 15,000 S in Draper, Utah, at 1:09 a.m. MDT on the 24th of July 2022. The collision threw the motorcycle rider from his Harley-Davidson to the ground, killing him. 575. 576. The driver told police he did not see the motorcyclist and he was using Autopilot at the time of the crash. Telemetric data submitted to NSA later confirmed his statements. 574. 428. Report ID 13781 to 3488 Michael Brooks, the acting executive director of the Center for Auto Safety, commented, "It's pretty clear to me, and it should be to a lot of Tesla owners by now. This stuff isn't working properly and it's not going to live up to the expectations, and it is putting innocent people in danger on the roads. Drivers are being lured into thinking this protects them and others on the roads, and it's just not working." 577. Boca Raton, Florida, USA, the 26th of August, 2022. On the 26th of August, 2022 at 2:11 a.m. EDT, a motorcycle rider on a Kawasaki Vulcan was struck from behind by a driver in a Tesla Model 3 while both vehicles were traveling westbound on SW 18th Street approaching Boca Rio Road in Sandalford Cove, a census-designated place in unincorporated Palm Beach County, just outside the city of Boca Raton, Florida. The motorcycle rider was thrown from her motorcycle into the windshield of the Tesla. The rider was transported to a hospital, where she later died from the injuries she sustained in the collision. The driver of Tesla was suspected of driving under the influence of alcohol and / or prescription drugs. 578. The Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office later confirmed the driver of the Tesla was using Autopilot. 574. Data reported by Tesla Undancer SGO 2021-01 also confirmed that Autopilot was engaged during the crash. 428. Report ID 13781 to 3700.